Okay, Sandra, what are you going to talk about for us today?
Okay, I'm going to talk about two new fork products, a new Reba and a new Revelation. Most of you have probably seen the Reba fork. There's been some spy shots that have circulated around. That's the fork I'm going to start out with. Prop Master.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so one of the first questions when we started talking about SID about 9 months ago, with Reba in the past, it's been positioned as this light, stiff, durable 100 millimeter product, which was exactly where we were going with the new SID product. So people have been wondering what we're going to do with Reba. So Reba for 2009 will increase travel to 120 millimeters. Now we're still going to offer the 80 and the 100 millimeter versions, but it's designed more around a sweet spot of 120 to make it more appropriate for the trail style bicycles that are centered around that 120 millimeters of travel. As you can probably notice, it is an all-new chassis design, building off a lot of what we've learned out of our recent chassis development projects. So I'll run through quickly from the top. They're all aluminum steers. It's a hollow AL66 TV crown, 32 millimeter upper tubes.
Amazingly sculpted, I might add as well, on the crown.
You can see the lower leg design, lots of material in the arch to help with stiffness. Also going to a power bulge design to help with stiffness, bushing longevity, bushing durability. We've gone to a post-mount disc brake that helps reduce the overall system weight. It's also a little bit better way of mounting your caliper to the fork. You'll also notice that we now are offering different dropout options for the fork. We'll have both a standard 9mm quick release like I have and a new 20mm version like HB's holding. It is using the 20x110 standard. It's using what we call our Maxle Light. The Maxle Light saves over 50 grams off of the current Maxle. The weight of the axle alone is 84 grams, so it's a pretty significant savings over where we are with the Maxle today that you would know from Pike or Lyric or Boxer. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail in terms of the weights of the various models and things like that. The one thing I want you to remember, though, the new Reba is as light or lighter than what we're offering today. Reba has a wide number of options that are available in terms of the models, the wheel sizes, all of that kind of thing. The thing, as I say, it's as light or lighter than what we offer today. In the 26-inch version, it's right about the same weight, so it's the as light. In the 29-inch version, it's significantly lighter. The new through axle version of the Reba 29 is coming in right about the weight of the past standard axle version, so just right around 4 pounds. Now, what you might have noticed with the forks up here, which are both 26-inch, we're using what we'd call more of our traditional lower leg design, where the bottom out is at the lower part of the lower leg. With the 2.9er version, we're using more of the hollow bottom style of lower leg, like what we've used on the 2009 SID. This is where we're able to get the most significant weight savings out of the 29er forks. So comparably, we're talking about almost a quarter of a pound weight savings over what was available in the past. The other thing to note on the 2.9er version is the travel options that are available. We are not limiting the travel on the through axle version where we would have in the past, so it is available up to 120 millimeters of travel. The standard axle version will be 100 millimeter maximum. Now, I won't go into the damping details of this. Essentially, though, it's real easy. It's what you know from SID today. The same type of refinements are applying to Reba. It'll use the motion control refinements. We'll be using our black box motion control system at the team level. The other thing to note on the various models is there is no difference in chassis. So all of the features that I talked about apply across the board. Essentially, what differentiates the models is the damper.
Cool. Do you want to talk about the air spring at all, Sandra? Awesome.
Go back into my props here. So one of the things when looking at the new Reba fork and trying to optimize this around the trail style of riding and that 120 millimeter sweet spot, one of the things that we hear from people regarding air springs is everybody wants that feel of a coil, but they want the weight that comes with an air spring system. So, in looking at the way we kind of dissected it was the two things that are important about that feel of a coil are low breakaway friction and a very linear spring rate. So we've done a couple of things to help with both of those. First off is the low breakaway friction. What you might notice on the air spring that HB is holding here is this little whitish, yellowish piece here sitting on the air piston. That's a foam ring that is saturated in oil that sits below the O-ring. It's real similar to what we've done for a number of years. Some of our competitors are now doing with the foam filter on the wiper seal, where it keeps the sealing surface continually lubricated to help fight any of the initial friction that'll come from the rubber and the aluminum. So we've taken that, we've done that now at the air piston. We're also doing it on the negative spacer there on the shaft itself. So we're helping further reduce any of the friction, give it a real nice, supple, small bump feel. It really is getting closer and closer to that feel of a coil where it's a real nice and active system.
And what I've noticed, Sander, is it's such a consistent feel. Over a long-term riding process, nothing ever gets dried out in there. Everything's lubricated well, so it's way easier on the O-rings, and it always feels buttery.
The second part of this is something that we've used on some of our longer travel air spring systems in the past, which is what we call a floating negative system. In the past couple years with Lyric and Totem developments, we've talked about the management of the air that builds up inside the lower leg, that it's this ambient chamber of air that you really don't have much control over with valves or anything, but can contribute significantly to the overall feel of the fork. So the floating negative system has two components to it. One is a ported seal head. So this piece down here allows air that builds up inside the lower leg somewhere to go up inside the upper tube. And then the negative chamber itself can move inside the upper tube. So it's giving the air that's naturally inside the lower leg somewhere to go and to help minimize its effect on the overall spring rate. So all of those things combine to give it a real nice, supple, small bump feel, a real linear feel through the stroke of the fork. And it means when we call it a 120 millimeter travel fork, you can expect to see 120 millimeters.
Cool. Big difference there.